A lot can happen in a decade. Dynasties can rise, and they can fall.
Michigan makes a stand!
Miracles may be witnessed. Tears can be shed from joy or from pain. Dreams can be crushed, or they can come true.
Man, every single week I play that intro, it reminds me of how good college football is.
For sure.
Every single time, man. Everybody, welcome back, man. East Coast Gridiron here on episode 54 of College Football Rush. I'm here with the special guest again today, man. The governor of college football is back in the house, man. Week 11 is upon us. How we feeling, man? How we feeling?
Blessed and highly favored, man, and we are not worthy for this college football season we have currently. There's just so many unanswered questions, and we're this far into the season. I think that's the scariest part.
Yeah. I feel like this year, out of a lot of years, and I almost say this every single year, but if you're not paying attention week to week, especially this year, you're going to be lost.
You miss a lot.
The bottom half of the top 20 is it's not the same week to week. It's a new team entering almost every single week. We got teams rising just out of nowhere. We got freshman quarterbacks at BYU leading their team to an undefeated season. Like it's the craziest time to be alive. And I think you were actually saying, I got to give you credit. I think you're actually saying the American Conference is probably going to be the best conference this year.
Yeah.
And in all regards, it has been. So, hey, man, let's get through the lineup for today. There's a coaching buyout that maybe have been a rumor, but I hear some, where there's rumor, where there's smoke, there's fire. Which this was kind of surprising. We got to get into that. Shane Beamer saving face, man. That was a firing that happened down at South Carolina. That I don't think anybody's scratching their head at, but we're really trying to see, like, there was one firing, but should he have been the one to get the boot? Future transfer quarterback, man. I don't see how this guy stays where he's at, but we're gonna get into that. Who I think one, if not the hottest quarterback in college football, he's definitely going to be that if he gets into the transfer portal. Game of the week, man. This one's pretty obvious. We talked about the Big 12, and there's another Big 12 matchup that's game of the week. And then, of course, round this out with not only the Week 11 predictions, but get into our betting odds. This year, I've been pretty rock solid. I'm pretty proud of, especially the betting side of the house.
You've been killing it, brother.
Yeah. The week before last week, I kind of hit a stinker, but this week, I think we're in there like swimwear. But let's get over to, not only the first topic of the day, but the one that's the most spicy. The Vols are exploring a Josh Huepel buyout. Now, just off the rip, when you saw that, were you just like, what the hell? Or did you think it was justified just from reading the title?
First thought was absolutely what the hell. I think that fan word is the root word of fanatic, and I think sometimes the fanatic aspect of college football, like expectations versus reality, are nowhere near in the same realm.
Tell me about it. Yeah, it kind of shocked me when I saw it, and then I guess the guy that was on Twitter got community noted. But Richard G. West, this was their original tweet. Rumors in Tennessee's athletic directive office this morning, and this was as of November 2nd, had the potential Josh Huepel buyout, dependent factors on the outcome of the Florida and Vandy games. The only name being thrown out there is Lane Kiffin as a replacement. Kiffin has referenced many times how much he misses Tennessee. Now, if I remember right, Lane Kiffin left them high and dry.
That was a dumpster fire through and through.
Yeah. So I'm not sure why his name would be the one to kind of get brought out in this conversation. But then there was another rumor of a 30-day ultimatum and exploring a buyout for him. Now, here's again, when there's smoke, there's fire. There's not these things coming out unless there's something, right? And the only reason I'm confused about this is, first of all, we start with the extension that happened. It wasn't a financial extension. It was just, we want you here for a more amount of time. And this was back in August, right before, the season even started. And so now we're extending his deal into 2030. And mind you, he is the only coach in the last 6 stints, I believe. We had Derek Dooley, Jim Chaney, Butch Jones, Brady Hoke, Jeremy Pruitt, and now Josh Heupel has been the last coach there, and he's still a coach there from 2021 to now. Over a 700 winner percentage. And we're already talking about a 30-day ultimatum. To me, I think this is too soon, man. I think this is too soon for us even to have this conversation and not look at the things that he's done right at Tennessee when this program has been a dumpster fire for years. I think you throw Tennessee, you throw Nebraska, I guess you could throw Florida State in there now. These schools are like, when they're not good, I guess you could throw Michigan in there from time to time when they weren't able to get over the hump. When these teams are not in the conversation of being at the top, I think this kind of leaves, you kind of looking at the skeleton and it's kind of taking the arm away from the skeleton almost. Like, you don't build college football up without these teams at least being good. And we understand the hitting that Nebraska just took with Dylan Raiola being out. So
that's so heartbreaking this late in the year.
Yeah. So with this whole situation, man, do you think it's warranted for us to be having this conversation at this time, or is it this is just foolishness? We need to move on with our life and just let Josh Heupel do his thing.
This is the third time that I've heard this type of vernacular, like a 30-day almost probationary period, like brother just got out of jail. I remember it back in 2023 with Jeff Hafley, where Boston College pretty much put it out there. The boosters were pissed off. The donors were pissed off. I bet you they're missing Jeff Hafley right now, and he's living La Vida Loca with the Green Bay Packers, their defensive coordinator right now. So yeah. I remember it with Billy Napier, who's no longer there. And I remember at the end of last year, I'm like, why would I stay? Like, I showed that I could coach at this level. We won some games we didn't expect to win. So what is my purpose in staying? If there's another job I can go out there and get, and at the time, you probably had DJ Lagway following wherever he went, I would have left now. And this is the third time I hear it. I think with the other two gentlemen, they just weren't reaching success. Hafley was able to get some recruits to come to Boston College, which is really difficult to do. I think he was able to have some success there as well, was able to get somebody like a Thomas Castellanos out the portal, was able to get Jerron Bradley out the portal as well. Just didn't work out, but he was able to get those pieces. And we look at what he was able to do. He said, I'm going to leave before you put my family through this SHIT again. And that's what he decided to do. He went to the NFL. He was tired of the fundraising aspect of with college football. Billy Napier stayed, and he got canned. This is just delusion. You look at Tennessee's return in production heading into the season. They lost some pieces via the NFL, via the portal. If there's anything I think Josh Heupel did wrong after the Ohio State game in the college football playoff last year, where you had players and your starting quarterback threaten to hold out if they don't get a piece of the $20 million that each team gets for making the college football playoff. I think that was your time after the season ended. Hey, we're going to go into a different direction. Thank you for everything you've done here. Let's go ahead and move on. If there's anything I question him for, it was that move. And I think Tennessee is ahead of schedule. Now, I could be, I agree with you. But I think they're 100% ahead of the schedule. I didn't expect this from Joey Aguilar. Now, we saw some of what we saw last year in Boone, North Carolina, this past weekend with the interceptions that he was throwing this past weekend. But I think they're ahead of schedule. I just think sometimes when you begin to win, they must have forgot what it was like with Jeremy Pruitt was head coach. I guess they forgot about those days down in Knoxville.
Yeah, and I think Jeremy Pruitt's best days are when he was at Florida State. I miss him being a defensive coordinator. I really do.
I bet.
But just like I miss Jimbo, I know those conversations have been hot. I'd welcome him back with open arms, but that's just me. But I do look at some of the positive things like he's made, like Tim Banks being his defensive coordinator.
Huge Tim Banks guy.
To me, when you make hires like that, and it even goes beyond even that, when you talk about Tim Banks and what he's done just this year, both of his starting corners go out, and two more younger guys come in, and they're still playing top-notch football. Yeah, had they made the mistakes where sometimes they get launched on, yeah. But you damn near have two freshmen playing corner. And two hot shot corners that are going to go off into the NFL, or at least get looked at as two of the best prospects. And so I look at things like that versus, how he's handled maybe some of the situations up to this point. Now, I think the 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗶𝗲𝘀𝗀 thing was way beyond. It was kind of a puzzle on how to navigate, because here's the thing. You roll out the red carpet for this guy, private planes, all this other stuff to get this guy to commit. It works. And then now everybody's giving the excuse of, well, I don't think we know what he's doing with Nico. I think Nico just showed his true colors of what he actually was.
100%.
The veer and shoot system is very quarterback friendly, but I don't think Nico is the type of quarterback that was going to be able to sit there and have the confidence to launch the ball like he needed to. Then you get a guy like Joey Aguilar, who had nothing to lose in this whole effort and make the best decision for himself, and literally had Tennessee as one of the hottest teams through the first 4 or 5 weeks going into that Georgia matchup, right? And so I think when you look at that, you look at the amount of NFL guys that he sends off every single year. You look at that he got a Joe Milton drafted. He got a Hendon Hooker drafted. He had a undefeated season at UCF. Like, even though that was beyond the Tennessee thing, what his ceiling can be as a coach. I really think that I agree with you. Like, they're in a really good spot to advance themselves. Now, a lot of people are going to start pulling out the top 25 records. And then if you compare Josh to James Franklin was at Penn State for a very, very long time.
Exactly.
And he couldn't recruit wide receivers. Let's just call it what it is. So he had to go in the portal this year and grab some. And then still, he didn't hire the right coaches at the right time. Andy Kotelnicki should have never been their offensive coordinator for the personnel that they had on that team. Yes, you had two hot shot running backs, but you didn't have that type of quarterback that was going to be able to run that. A 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝗀 probably would have fit better in Penn State. Then Drew Allen would have probably fit better here at Tennessee. Imagine in the world we would see that.
Right. That would be incredible.
Yeah, and so his top 25 record is 12-15, but not without a little context here. It was 12-12 before the season actually started. He took 3 losses this year in the top 25. During a year where they're trying to get them bearings about themselves, and then you look at the, here's the other thing that I'll kind of in my rant on is he's had a lot of mishaps that have happened with that offense for them to be able to be successful over the years. Hendon Hooker, for example. And then last year, Bru McCoy, who medically retired, going to the NFL. You have Squirrel White, who ends up transferring but was hurt almost every single year he was there. Then getting a Dante Thornton that was a third stringer trying to make things happen between him and Nico. And then the Dylan Sampson leading their team and being SEC Player of the Year, and it was just a lot of things that were happening that were way beyond the scope of when you look at Josh Heupel. I think he has enough excuses more than a James Franklin, because I think that's what people are going to compare this situation to, over and over and over again. So it's kind of where I'm at with this, man. I think it's a little bit too early for us to be having this conversation. And let's be honest here. Having a 700-plus record and being in the SEC, yes, and Butch Jones and Jeremy Pruitt to do the same thing.
Right.
I mean, Butch Jones got 61 games. He's at 52 right now.
I think Tennessee fans think Phil Fulmer is walking through the door, and that's not who's walking in the door. And if you get rid of Josh Heupel, you pay him all this money. You'll be paying him till roughly 2029, 2030 with the dead money that you're giving them. Who are you getting in right now that's going to exceed them? I know you're not thinking his understudy, which I heard some people want Alex Golesh to come back there and head coach that team, who's a part of his coaching show.
That's what I was about to say. That is not a progressive move whatsoever.
It's not at all. I just don't get it. This guy's done an outstanding job. And I tell you what, if Oklahoma wasn't good this year, I think we'll be having a different conversation because he may want to go back home and be the head coach. But of course, Oklahoma is playing pretty outstanding this year.
Yeah, this is the wrong time too with all the openings that are happening.
Right.
I mean, who's to say that if you let him go and he goes somewhere like a Penn State, right?
Right.
Or Virginia Tech and turns them around, and then you get the next coach that comes in. As much as I love Will Stein, like I think he deserves to be a head coach, but it's not guaranteed that he would be a great head coach somewhere. Let's say he comes to Tennessee and has a worse year or a worse couple years with them, then they're gonna be like, well, we were okay with Josh, and like we didn't really recognize his situation. It's always sour grapes.
It'll be a lot of regret. It'll be a lot of regret, 100%. I don't know where they're talking because he'll be coaching next year, and he might even decide to stay in the SEC. Say, hey, I'll go coach at Auburn. We'll see you guys, and I'll make sure each and every year that we play you all because I don't think they're annual opponents. We're gonna put hands and feet on y'all each and every time.
Yep. And a guy that knows what it's like to play at the highest level. We're talking about I posted a picture while, I was putting some of the graphics together right before the show of just how young he was at Oklahoma, being a runner-up for the Heisman that year as the quarterback for them. So, if something does happen with Oklahoma, and he might retain a Ben Arbuckle to be his offensive coordinator and bring a Tim Banks over, and then now he's the head coach at Oklahoma.
Watch out.
He's not gonna let them fail. And it just is what it is. So we've seen crazy stuff like that happen all the time.
I agree with you 100%. I think sometimes people don't think things all the way through. They see a lot is going on at other schools. They're like, hey, well, what if we can go out there and get somebody like that? I don't think Knoxville is as plentiful as it used to be. I'll say that.
I'll tell you what Jimbo Fisher used to say to the team. See a little, see a lot, see nothing.
That's a bar.
Yeah, this is what it is. Sorry to bring my Florida State fandom into this, but I mean, it's absolutely true. Like, keep the main thing the main thing. You can't worry about everything that's going to come to you. You got to, meet it head first when it is right in front of you. So let's get into the next thing here, man. That was a great discussion on Josh, man. I got to meet Josh at the Senior Bowl a couple years ago. Super nice guy. We're heading up on the elevator up there at South Alabama Stadium to talk to a couple guys at Zebra, but he was in the same elevator as us and got to say what's up. Super tall guy, by the way. He's really? Much more massive in person than you would think he is.
Yeah, I mean, he played quarterback. That makes sense.
I always forget that. I'm like, damn.
That's how I was meeting Mike Vrabel in 2023 at the Senior Bowl. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel. A lot bigger
in person than they did on TV, bro.
Facts. And then you got Ian Rappaport and the rest of those guys that are like really short in person.
Right.
It's like, what the hell? Dudes like hobbits, man. So I think this was going to get a little spicy because I remember me and you were talking about Lenora Sellers and how pretty much his ceiling would only be met as if Shane Beamer or Mike Shula were to do the right thing. And I feel bad for a lot of those kids outside of him. Nick Harbor, that defense that's playing outstanding right now. After they picked it up, after they lost everybody on that defense. We're talking about Nicky Manwari and all those guys. Like, they're gone, and they're continues to step up to the plate. Here it is. Here's what I'll say. The offense has been terrible this year. Games that they've been in, they couldn't stand because their offense could not score. And Mike Shula has just been calling bad play after bad play after bad play, putting them in bad positions. And of course, I got a lot to say about this, but to me, Shane Beamer firing Mike Shula, to me, is just, he's saving face at this point in time. I think the real issue lies with him. I don't know what it is, but how'd you feel when you heard Mike Shula going? I'm sure you agree, like, yeah, it was about time, but it's an underlying issue, here with this whole story.
I think you nailed it, bro. The fact of the matter is that the talent they had. You talked about Nick Harbor. We looked at Mazio Bennett as a freshman last year and say, wow, what he'll be able to do in this system this following year. And for your students of your institution, probably some of the professors to lead a fire Mike Shula protest, that was a few weeks ago. Like, you're way behind on this. So heavy is the head that wears the crown, and why I think Shane Beamer's super Dope guy. Got to meet him in person at the Aflac Kickoff Challenge this past year. Got to meet his dad. Shook his dad hand. Dad is a stand-up dude, Frank Beamer. I don't see how moving forward South Carolina keeps him. Now, the problem would be is all of the coaching changes that's going around. Of course, those resources in Gainesville are plentiful. Those resources in Baton Rouge are plentiful. Hell, the resources in Auburn are more plentiful than they are in Columbia. So I don't think it'll be a job that, even though, it'll garner some attention, but who are you going to get that's better than Shane Beamer at head coach will be my question. But then the question, I take it a step further and say, well, he'll probably be a great fit at Virginia Tech. The success that his dad have there.
It's the natural fit. It fits like a glove, right?
It does. And of course, I've been pounding the table for James Franklin to come to Virginia Tech. Now that Virginia Tech wants to spend more money and actually try to compete in the ACC, I think they're going to try to do it the way that it's being done in Lubbock right now. He's way too late on this, and this is a saving face. Well, I want to stay loyal to the soil. That's cool. If you're going to ride with him and stay loyal to him the entire time. Don't wait till you be like, my job's on the line now. Now I got to fire him. I hold you 100%.
That's what this feels like. And to be honest, I don't want to say this is the most important year of Lenoris's career, because it's not. He's still got eligibility left. I hate to keep bringing up James Franklin in this, but this seems like a situation where you've made bad hire after bad hire. You've had really good recruiting classes and you have a ton of talent on this team and you just don't meet expectation. And it's we have to use James Franklin in that example because he was the same way at Penn State. But also on top of that, you can't get by with just being a really good recruiter, because that's what James Franklin was.
Absolutely.
And there's always been deficiencies in places that there shouldn't be deficiencies, is my issue with this. Now, a lot of us had Lenoris Ellis, and this is going to keep going back to him because it's the obvious thing, right? The point in time where people were talking about this draft class not having the quarterbacks outside of 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗶𝗲𝘀𝗀, which for the guys, and I don't know if you heard me say this was the year that if anybody messed up at the quarterback position, that a lot of guys are going to start showing their face that we knew were good, right? We're talking about 𝗕𝘂𝘂𝘀𝗀𝘀, Garrett Nussmeier, Drew Aller. All those guys had the potential of not being as good as they were last year, and guys like Chandler Morris and the rest of these guys were, Josh Hoover, which we all know is, are dogs, right? You're going to get some of these guys that come out of nowhere and now put themselves in a position. Brendan Sorsby, for example, put themselves in a position to be talked about in the draft very, very highly because those guys have fallen from grace. I don't necessarily think that for Lenoris, but I also think that he should stay another year. And not to go back on the Tennessee thing, the perfect place for him to go, guys with big arms that had athleticism, would be Tennessee, because the pedigree is there for him to succeed under Josh Huepel. Now, if that happens, I'm going to be like, oh, shit. It might be over for everybody if that happens.
It would be.
Here's the other problem I have. Mike Shula should have been fired for the simple fact that they went through this whole NCAA waiver thing with Rasul Faison and did not use the kid. They're not using him at all. And it frustrates the hell out of me. You have a guy in Nick Harbor who should be your superstar and you barely use him. The dude, if you watch him on film, he gets open pretty much every damn route. Why are we not telling Lenoris, we're going to game plan between you guys are the offense. We're not going to run the ball because that's, ever since Raheem Sanders left, we just don't run the ball anymore. You are our running game, but we got to get the ball out to our best guy. And again, it's a shame that the defense is ranked 11th nationally right now, and they've lost everything. So you're very defensive heavy in a offensive talented team, which is crazy. And so what do? We fire Mike Shula. We don't put the blame on ourselves. And we're wasting another year of a talented quarterback that had QB1 in this draft outside of maybe Drew Aller if he was to stay healthy, right? Because I think regardless of how successful Penn State was going to be, the talent on Drew Aller, that's what, NFL guys are going to look for. But we're talking about, and I don't say this lightly, just like I've never gave the comparison of Haynes King being Tim Tebow until the other day, because I think he is modern day Tim Tebow. Everything that he does, he wins. He doesn't have the best arm ever, but he's a gamer. I see Tim Tebow. I see Cam Newton and Lenore Sellers. I really do. The other kid that I see like that is Deuce Knight, but we haven't seen him really play at Auburn yet.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy. He plays at Auburn. But outside of that whole thing, man, like what frustrates you most just watching South Carolina on a weekly basis? Like, is it the fact that they don't utilize their offense? Like, what is it outside of the coaching?
South Carolina is like an outstanding boxer who don't throw his hands. Just guard it the entire time. Just don't throw his hands. And I remember there was a play when South Carolina played Virginia Tech and Shane Beamer went up to Lenore Sellers and said, no matter what, throw this to Nick Harbor. And it ended up being a touchdown. So you're kind of, I think Sellers could still enter this upcoming NFL draft. I still think he'll be drafted pretty highly, but what could he use another year at the collegiate level? Absolutely. I think some of my frustration is you got a guy like Nick Harbor that could have went elsewhere. He stayed, you know what I'm saying, with Lenore Sellers. And Lenore Sellers, him and his parents, both of his parents, I believe that they co-parent, they were sold on Shane Beamer. They were sold on Columbia, South Carolina. They were sold here. Like, that was a big reason why he went there, because there was just this trust that the family and himself had in Shane Beamer. And that's what I feel probably worst about is what happened to these players who've had an enormous amount of potential. I'm not sure what happens with Lenore Sellers. I don't know where he goes. I would love to see him in Tennessee, like you said, depending on what happens with Lane Kiffin. I'm pretty sure he stays in Ole Miss, but I'm not sure he's the hottest ticket in town in college football. In all honesty, we know Trinidad Chambliss is leaving. Is he 100% sold on Austin Simmons? I would love to see him in that fast-paced turbo offense that they play as well. So my biggest frustration with this entire thing is the Mazio Bennett, who hasn't been 100% healthy this year, but he showed so much flash last year. Nick Harbor shows a lot of flash. Yeah, it's almost like a wasted season, like that season that I always use this parallel when J.J. Watt ran up to Deshaun Watson and say, yo, I apologize. We wasted one of your really good years. Lo and behold, we didn't know that following off season that the scandal was going to happen. So that's my biggest frustration with the South Carolina team. Why do you wait so long? There's so many hotshot offensive coordinators out there. Go get one.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think it's time for Lenores to make his own decision at this point in time. Like, I think the ball is completely in his court. And what I mean by that is, if you guys saw the reports of Lenore Sellers before the season, he was thinking about entering a transfer portal, or at least was entertaining it, like talking about it with his family. And his dad told him, don't do it.
Wow.
He said, don't do it. It's not about the money. It's about what you're willing to give to the school. And that really resonated with him. I can't really say that I blame Lenores at all if he's really going through that, because it's like, well, you fired Mike and we had a relationship, even though we knew Mike was part of the issue, but really and truly, what else do I have to stay loyal to right now, you know, at this school when nothing is going right? Shane had a really good year last year, and that last year can't be the best year that I'm going to have here because I can't go back in time. And so I have one more year of eligibility after this. How am I going to waste it? Am I going to waste it here being loyal to a school and ruining my future? Because I think at this point in time, that's the conversation that he needs to have with his parents. Like, it's about my future at this point. I don't even care about the money. The money's going to come wherever I go right now because my name is Lenore Sellers. I'm a big, fast, athletic, got all the intangibles. People are going to pay me wherever I go, Dad and Mom. I just need to figure out what situation is going to get me to the next level and ultimately going to help a team win a championship, because that's the legacy that I want to leave behind. I don't want to be the dude that had all the talent in the world. I don't know why my thing went out. I don't want to be known as the dude that had all the talent in the world and just never did anything with it, or I didn't bet on myself. Because I think a lot of players are having that. He can't imagine what Jackson Arnold just did. Jackson Arnold bet on himself. Still got benched, but at least he could say, at least I tried, right? At least I thought that. We know who Jackson Arnold is now. This is a completely different situation. I think if me and you sit in the offseason, we don't see this dude enter the transfer portal and be on a team that would be able to utilize his talents, and he stays with South Carolina, I'm gonna just say, Lenoris, that was dumb. I understand loyalty all day, bro. I do.
Right.
But this is way beyond that, brother. This is way beyond that.
That's ignorance at that point. There's no way that you should stay there at all, and especially when you don't even know what the future of the program looks like. Because I don't think Shane Beamer survives this season. I don't. And so what have you done for me lately? Yes, outstanding year a year ago. I wish they could have finished it with a bowl win versus Illinois, but Brett Bielema outsmarted Shane Beamer in that game. But I think his tenure is winding down, and to be 129th total offense, that's 68 power 4 teams, another 68 group of 5. That's 136 teams, 129th in total offense. That's not going to cut it at any level.
I think the athletic director of South Carolina needs to take a long look at himself in the mirror this week or at the end of the season and say, do I get a coach in here that's going to keep Lenoris around and get everything out of him? Or am I going to tell Shane that to go tell Lenoris to enter the transfer portal because it's what's good for him?
Right. That's what's right.
If he does that, then I'm willing to keep you as a coach because this goes beyond the relationship that you had with the player. You're trying to put him in a good position. You could either be Nick Saban on what he did with Jalen Hurts, you know what I'm saying, and then find the guy that's actually going to fit your system, because I don't think Lenoris was a guy that just fit Mike Shula's system.
Not hand in glove. I agree.
No. And so this is the time to kind of right your wrongs with that for sure. But you can't scapegoat yourself in week 10 of the season when everybody knew that Lenoris should have been a Heisman candidate at this point in time. And you're constantly getting this kid hurt. I mean, Mike should have pulled him back at so many different times and been like, you shouldn't have ran it there. Or I got to find linemen that actually want to block for you, because sometimes if you watch South Carolina football, and this is how I know people don't watch like they say they do, all Lenoris does is run. No, Lenoris, what he tries to do is make a play when he's getting clapped up front from his offensive line. Those guys are not that great. They're not. That's a recruiting problem.
So that's the Virginia Tech game, and they were way bigger than that defensive line for Virginia Tech.
And they lost like 3 guys to the draft. Aeneas Peebles and the rest of those guys are Chad Ryland. Ryland wasn't there anymore. He's on the Ravens too. So it's like the guys that you had to go against. Imagine if it was those guys from last year. He'd be in a casket right now. Let's go into these comments, man. I see a lot of people asking some good questions. The Nub said, Vols fan here and want to keep Coach Huepel. He turned this program from a dumpster fire into a team that can compete on Saturdays. That's a great point. Let's not act like Tennessee gets their doors blown off. They don't. And they have a lot of injuries that they're dealing with. Jay 100%. Says, what is your opinion on the SEC going to a 9 conference games and how it might affect teams making the playoff? That's the reason why they didn't want to move into a 9 conference game schedule, because they always want the SEC to be in the playoffs.
But they waited until the college football playoff said, hey, strength of schedule is the number 1 metric when we start to compare teams against other teams. They instantly went to the 9 game. And then what's even crazier is that power conference 10th game that they must play as well, or Notre Dame. That's what makes it crazy. I think it's better. I think it'll be better for the conference. I think next year, if they decide to stay at 12 or go to 14, 16, whatever they decide to go to, I think you may see a 3 or 4 loss team from that conference end up making the playoffs just because of the changes that Greg Sankey was able to make for this conference.
Yeah. And when the Big Ten did it, here's the thing that you don't want to do. You've been known as the best conference of football for years now. And I don't necessarily think that. I think that the best conference of football is the Big Ten. The moves that they made, the teams that they got, and the way that they compete with each other on a week-to-week basis is great. But here's what happened is they went to a 9-game conference schedule, and the divisions dropped off, which made it even more competitive. And the people that fell behind in that's always been my argument to those that don't know, those that want to pretend like they know, is when you go to a 9 conference game schedule and you drop the divisions, the Big Ten was the best conference. Just is what it is, because they competed with each other mostly more than any other conference out there at the highest level. So how can you not say that they're not the best? I think the teams that are going to get left behind are going to get left behind. And I will always say this right here. Guys like Shane Beamer, guys like, Mississippi State and LSU probably felt the most from this. So Brian Kelly and Shane Beamer felt the most of this. When they dropped those divisions off, they suffered the most.
100%.
Because they weren't locked into the same teams over and over and over again. It's like, nah, it's wide open, Playboy. You got to play who you going to play. You're going to get hands and feet put on you every single week.
I know, bull.
And so now they got to do that even more. So I think LSU actually saved Brian Kelly from getting an ass kicking every single year by one more game. He's not a SEC coach. You just got to put it like that.
And we were crying at both of us in the offseason, like the people who were predicting, hey, LSU can win it all. You looking at the roster. I just don't trust the guy that's running the ship. And if I don't trust the guy running the ship, I can't bet on you.
Talk about a guy that wasted the quarterbacks last year. He should get his ass whooped for that.
He should, 100%.
Garrett Nussmeier shouldn't be playing right now. He's pulling a Quinn Ewers for no reason on that losing team. Quinn at least had a team that was national championship bound every single year. So him playing with that oblique injury was like, all right, you're a warrior, bro, but your team y'all are almost there. This team took several losses, and there's no reason why Garrett shouldn't be sitting out right now and getting ready for the draft. Their season is done. Edwin says, I understand the thing about Mike Shula that South Carolina should tell him, like, hey, man, start clicking or you're gone. And Beamer should recruit better linemen for Sellers or let him go elsewhere.
I like that.
Yep. And Bill Valentine, what's the deal with 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗶𝗲𝗀𝗏? Is he leaving Tennessee? Now, we talked about that a little earlier. If you want to rewind the show and watch it, it has come out as a rumor, but again, when multiple places are putting this out and people start to get to talking, where there's smoke, there's fire. So I think in the next couple of days, if you heard that there was a 30-day ultimatum, I'm not going to shrug my shoulders and be like, oh, I didn't expect that. I'm going to be like, oh, well, I guess so. But it's stupid. They shouldn't do it. All right, let's get into the guy who, obviously, let me go back here. Ooh, getting ahead of myself. Darian Mensah, to me, is the best quarterback in college football. He's doing more with less. He's putting that team on his back every single week. And the stats that he's putting up without the elite talent being on that team shows you that, Manny Diaz is a good coach, first of all. I don't know how the hell he got Darian Mensah to transfer to Duke unless this guy is just like, I care about my education. Well, that too. Yeah, he was the highest paid or the second highest paid next to Carson Beck, I believe, this offseason in NIL. But is this another Lenore Stellar situation where we're sitting there saying, man, dude, you could be number one overall next year. Is Darian Mensah, should he go ahead and enter the transfer portal?
I think we've seen Malik Murphy leave Austin, head to Durham, had a lot of success in Durham. They were able to win a lot of games, and that's why my expectations were high. Even before they got Darian Mensah, even though it was almost like that, my expectations were high just because of my belief in Manny Diaz. I believe he was wrong done at a few of the places that he had been at, and I believe in what he brings to the table. You give him a guy like Darian Mensah, I don't see how he stays because the money that he's going to be offered by teams in the SEC specifically or Big Ten, I think there's no way that he stays. You're not going to be able to keep that type of talent on your roster unless you can find a way to get him more money and he stays put. But he definitely should be looked at as QB1 for the 2027 NFL draft.
I'm going to let you think about your teams on who you should go to, but I'm going to give you three that I'm automatically thinking about. So I think, and this would be dangerous wherever he goes. I think the most likely play, I'll give you the most likely, I'm okay if he goes there, and then the most least likely with a good reason why he should go there. I think he should go back to California as the most likely, going to USC if Jaden Mayava enters the draft. Being under Lincoln Riley would be, if you're going to keep Mekhi Lemon back there, you're going to go get Darian Mensah.
That'd be crazy.
He would be a Biletnikoff finalist Just give him the award at the beginning of the season.
Right.
That's how I would feel about it.
It's going to him.
Yeah. And with Eli Sanders in the backfield and all those guys, King and all those guys there, man, it could be the Penn State situation where all those kids decide that let's end up staying because we're about to get this beast of a quarterback here. Jaden's going off to go do his thing. Thank you for your services, good sir. But Darian Minson and Jaden Mayava, it's a clear difference between the talent of those two.
Absolutely.
The other one that I think about that would be fun, and I think he would fit in with this coach and just what they do down there, Alabama. If they decide that they're not completely bought in with Keelan Russell, which I think that they are, right? Like, I think Ty Simpson's leash was probably the shortest out of any starting quarterback. Think about how long it took Kalen DeBoer to come out and say that he was the starter. I believe it was a true competition down to the final snap with those two. I think they have a lot invested in Keelan, but if they're worried about his future, get him to pull a red shirt next year and have Darian come in, build up his draft stock, win a national championship, and peace out. I think that would be a Cinderella story for them. But I just think he's a good fit wherever he goes. We've seen him go into two different systems and ball out. But here's the most unlikely, and it's going to be a couple different factors, but I think this is the best fit for him from the history that we've seen already. And we've talked about this team before that we're telling people, look out. There's a guy named Jeff Brom with his brother Brian Brom down there in Louisville that are building something special. That how many quarterbacks have they made that were just the land of misfit children?
It's the third one.
Jack Plummer got drafted. Tyler Shuck just went in the second round. We're talking about a guy that said, and I like Tyler Shuck. That's my guy. But this is a guy that we weren't talking about being talked about at highly touted before he, actually got hurt his first year at Texas Tech. Everybody was talking about him then, but then, that kind of faded off once he got hurt. But think about him and Isaac Brown, and if Colin Lacey wants to stay behind, and their defense is awesome. Like,
oh man, they got on the outside, man. He is a problem.
Yeah. Oh, you talking about Bell? Yeah, Bell is crazy too. Like that offense and that defense together. This would be like the Foreman of Voltron if that happened. But the thing is, the price tag is going to be very high to keep Jeff and Brian together because I think that they're a package deal wherever they go.
They are.
The brothers are a package. And now you got all these schools that are open. I could see Auburn calling. I can honestly see Penn State calling them, kicking Andy Kolonicki out there and bringing Brian in. But I think that's the best situation. That's the most highly unlikely. But Darian Mensah with Louisville would be – me and you were going to sit up here, and I just imagine us doing a pregame or a preseason show. Yeah, go ahead and lock Louisville up into the ACC champion and lock them up into probably one of the number one seeds in the college football playoff next year.
Football playoff.
They might go undefeated.
I like everything you said there. I think prior to this season, we all love Jake Retzlaff, kid from BYU, broke the Arnold code. He's now at Tulane. There's a stark disparity between what Darian Mensah was able to achieve there from an offensive perspective and what Jake Retzlaff is achieving from an offensive perspective. So that gives you, and even as well as Malik Murphy played last year, there's still a stark disparity in what Darian Mensah is doing in 2025 versus what Malik Murphy did in 2024, where he lands wherever he wants to. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's quarterback? Probably other than Dylan Raiola, because that merged with him in Nebraska. It's rich, it's deep. I think anywhere else in the country he decides to go and they're offering the right amount of money, he will go. But USC would be my personal favorite. I love USC. I've been high on USC. I think I picked them to win in every game that they played so far this year.
I was high on them this year too.
So that would be a match made in heaven. And what Jada Ma'aba is doing in that system and the balance, that's what I didn't expect. They have the ability to run a ball really well. And you give a kid like Darian Mensah that, he'll lead in almost every statistical passing category next year. There's no way they keep him in Duke unless the money is like that. And and he's one of the spokespersons for who do you want in the portal? We'll go get him for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just point him out.
Unless he just wanted to get that higher education and he maybe one of his favorite schools or something.
Mhm.
I don't know. I've never personally spoken to Darian Mensah to even find this
Right.
information out.
Mhm.
But if I could get him on the show just to ask that, like, what was not only was outside of the money, because it's got to be a motivation outside of the money for you to go.
Right.
Yeah. Is it just your family and you are just so high on education that you felt like that was the most important thing? And then on top of that, being with Manny Diaz, what was the combination of things for you to have chosen Duke out of every single school? Because it was kind of a shocker to all of us. Like, yeah, Tulane is a nice stepping stone from anybody to be at. And even if he decided to stay one more year with Tulane, I think in the football world, even with a Manny Diaz being at Duke, I still think Tulane is much more, a highly sought out place to be for a football player than it would be at Duke at this point. So
I agree.
But yeah, I think if he enters a transfer portal, if anybody's deficient at quarterback, even your starting quarterback maybe need to be put on notice. You might need to tell him, like, if we get Darian Mensah, enter the transfer portal, buddy. Unless you just want to sit behind him one more year. Like,
and it's only one portal window starting next year. So
I love that. I love
100%,
it.
100%.
Give me the December to January portal window all day versus the spring, because the spring portal screws everybody up. Except if you're Joey Aguilar. I understand Joey Aguilar doing it.
Yeah, I do 100%. Like the notes that I take, like I create sheets, not only for me, Moon likes to use them as well, just of detailed information. And that's why, like, the first few days of the portal, I'll see what Nino is posting on our Twitter. Other than that, I'm like, bro, I'm just gonna wait. Like, let's see where everybody ends up, and then I'll start updating some of the sheets that I keep. But it's frustrating.
Yeah, I hit 247 Sports up, and I'll just watch it on there and just see who's available, and then I start predicting, like, this guy might go there. Even the guys that haven't even entered a transfer portal, like one of the best pulls of all time that I did was Will Howard had no intention of entering a transfer portal, and I was like, man, Ohio State needs a quarterback. He seems like an Ohio State quarterback.
You called
if he goes there. Yeah, if you go back, I called on the video. I said, if he goes there, they're probably going to win a national championship. And they did. Way before he even entered the portal.
That's crazy.
I was like, I pulled out a crazy pull.
Yeah, that's one of the ones you got to remind people already so often, man.
Oh, yeah.
I had that up. That's dope.
Because you know how people say, oh, you're wrong about this. Well, you ain't getting predictions like that, buddy. Or just like the one the other year where I said Nick Saban's going to lose to two of his former assistants for the first time. Jimbo beat him at Texas A&M, and then it was oh my God, who was it?
Was it Kirby?
Yeah, it was Kirby. In the same year, and people are like, that's going to be impossible. Nobody can see that coming. They're not even going to match up that way. I was like, he's going to lose to both of those guys, and he ended up losing. Yeah. I can hang those two up as my football analyst career. Yeah,
those should be plaques on your wall, brother.
and it's on video. It's on video. But the last one that I'll throw out there is kind of like a Hail Mary, because I do think he's the best quarterback in the country. And I said that at the halfway point of the season, and I still look at him playing, and I'm like, there's nobody better than this kid. Like, as far as draft prospects, Ty Simpson to me is number one. But as far as prospects right now in college, if you had to rank them, he's number one out of everybody, until proven otherwise. And I think it's like a clear gap to me. And now people are starting to see it. You throw the Bear Bachmeyers in there and all that, and it's like, yeah, he's winning games, but like that BYU team is awesome.
He's not asked to do a lot. Now he makes his plays every now, but he's not asked to do what some of these other guys got to do. Like Sawyer Robinson, I play offense and defense for that damn team.
Yeah. So there's a coach out there that's been criticized a lot for a lot of different things, and he actually has been criticized a lot this year for the expectations in the ACC just completely dropping off the map and having a quarterback that was supposed to be a Heisman favorite, and we sat up here and said that he was going to be our Heisman favorite. And that's Dabo Swinney. Yeah. Did Dabo Swinney finally make a swing if Darian Mensah decides to enter the transfer portal to replace 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗶𝗲𝘀𝗀 with Darian Mensah?
If he's going to stay at Clemson, he'll be given some ground rules. Hey, if you plan on staying here, you either use the portal or else. I think we're going to start to get a lot more or else situations because that's where we're at in this era of college football. Win or else. You utilize the portal or else. Like, I think that's the only way they keep Dabo. And I'm not sure he survives just because they're going to be, you can look at the 2023 example when you all was able to get the kid Keon Coleman from East Lansing via the portal, and they needed help, dire need of help at the wide receiver position, and they didn't go get him. So yeah, I think it's use the portal or else. Those will be the conversations.
That's why I brought it up, and the reason why this fits probably better than all of them, like all the ones that I mentioned, even though I love the Louisville thing. He reminds me the most of Deshaun Watson out of every quarterback in college right now.
That's a great pull.
And remember what he did with Taj Boyd, who was kind of like that too, and Deshaun Watson. 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗶𝗵𝗲𝗀𝘀 has those qualities to him. He's the prototypical Dabo type quarterback that he likes. Like, be able to be athletic. I'm not going to limit you in your athleticism, but at some point in time, we got to be able to launch that thing down the field and look like a quarterback too. And that's the prototypical Dabo Swinney quarterback that he goes out there and finds. There's no better quarterback in the country that fits that mold more than Darian Mensah right now. And I agree with you. I think there's a serious conversation that gets had this offseason. Like, I don't care, Dabo. You got a lot of talent on this team, especially at the wide receiver position. Those guys are going to enter the transfer portal after Cade leaves. The only way to keep them is to go find a good quarterback.
Yep.
Because those kids are sophomores. They're true sophomores right now. And that Antonio Williams is the only one. He's a senior. He's gone.
Yep.
But the rest of them, how are you going to keep all of them?
Yep.
How are you going to keep all? Yeah. What's his name? Tyler and all those guys. Like, yeah. I think that would be the best pull that he can make right there. So, hey man, sorry not to glaze on Darian Mensah, man. I love that kid. I think he's goated.
Yeah, he's goated
right now. All right, game of the week. I'm getting to our preview for this. BYU at Texas Tech is obviously the game of the week for me. Kalani Sitake is to having top 40, recruiting classes every single year and having this team undefeated at this point. Number 8 in the country going against Texas Tech, who utilized the portal like crazy, even though they do it every single year. But this year, it just seemed to work out for them. And they got a really good edge rusher. They got probably the best linebacker in the country. And then you look over at BYU, it's like the opposite. Bear Bachmeier is playing his ass off. LJ Martin, hopefully they have him healthy back this week. It seems like he's been practicing good. Chase Roberts been there through Jaron Hall and Zach Wilson and Keaton Slovis and Jake Retzlaff. This is his 5th quarterback. Yeah, I remember interviewing Jaron Hall that one year. I said, yo, who's one of the teammates that we should be looking out for in next year's draft? He said Chase Roberts. That man is still in college.
That's crazy.
But you look at David Bailey as one of the best edge rushers in this class so far. Got 11.5 sacks, and a lot of people are starting to catch wind of his running mate there in the linebacker core, and Jacob Rodriguez. He's got 74 tackles this season. Defensively,
defense last year.
Yeah, defensively, these guys are going to be insane against a really good offense. Kind of what's your overview for this game? And what do you think about both teams? I mean, both of us are high on the kids out at Lubbock, though. So
yeah, it's one of those rare games where you get BYU, who runs the ball really well, against the best run defense in college football, and I think that's really going to be the key to this team. And then you talked a little bit about some of the defensive players on this team. You talked about a guy like Rodriguez, and in my film study of Texas Tech, they're a defense who plays like one, and it's so hard to do that. Like 11 people, like day one when you start to go over your gap integrity and your run fits and you're walking through them. Hey, if the flow of the play is left to the outside, hey, this is what I need you to do. And you see it time and time again. What they do
flow like an ocean.
Yeah, they do. It's poetry.
crazy.
It's poetry. It's poetry in motion. You talked about Bailey. I love Romello Height. I was watching some film of the game where they played Utah, and the fact that they were able to hold Devin Dampier, who we've seen light up pretty much everybody this season, other than these two teams that we're talking about now. But that ability, when you're a pass rusher and you're trying to go make money, you go get sacks. If you want to go get money, you go get sacks. And he's like a tweener linebacker, defensive end. I don't know what they'll look at him as at the NFL level. But the fact that every replay, he stayed honest, bro. And it frustrated the hell out of Utah. So I'm a huge Romello Height guy. I look at both of these teams. I think it's strength on strength. You got a team that runs the ball really well in BYU. They're going to bring their lunch pail. Well, hell, Texas Tech couldn't bring their lunch pail last year. They're bringing this rush defense in college football. So that's where I'm looking at in this game. Styles going to make fight. This going to be as good as a heavyweight battle. If you're a purist and you love great defensive play, outstanding play, somehow in the Big Ten scores get a little bit heavier but this will be one of those old Pittsburgh Steelers versus great defenses back in the day, brother. Maybe the Pittsburgh
Baltimore versus the Steelers.
Yeah, one of those. Hey man, 1st to 13 gonna win this game. That's what it feels like. But in college football, there's just always those plays. So early impressions of this game is that this is a strength versus a strength. Somebody got to bend and break, and Lubbock's gonna be crazy this weekend. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I can't wait. Lubbock's going to be on fire. They seem to get these matchups all the time now. And this is just almost poetry to what we were saying at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
The quarterbacks, the conference itself is going to be excellent this season down there in the Big 12. And it has been. Baron Morton looked sensational through the first 6 weeks before he ended up getting that injury. Hammond came in. He looked awesome too. And then now he's out for the season. So then Baron Morton had to kind of speed up the way that he was dealing with things as far as his recovery.
Tech Mobile running back to the field.
Straight up. And so I think, and the crew thinks, I think BYU is going to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
Don and Logan, they think Texas Tech is going to win. I just think this is one of those games where BYU, Kalani Sitake, that offense, they got a lot of skill. And I think Bear Bachmar is one of those guys that's just going to continue to hammer it in and find a way to win. They've done that all season long. They just found a way to win, You look at the Utah game, found a way to win. I think they had a double overtime game, this season as well. I can't remember who it was against. Let me go back to my notes here. It was a double overtime win against Arizona, because it was them and Noah Fafita was slinging that thing in that game. Yeah. So
Arizona should have won that game.
They should have,
Mm-hmm.
But the scoreboard said differently.
Absolutely.
There's nothing against, Baron Morton and what they're doing. That defense is actually going to be a really good test for them. But when you can beat the Utahs of the world that's got otherworldly front seven, I mean, they got three guys on their front seven that are ranked in, if you like PFF grades, ranked at 80 or above all season long. That's insane. Arizona has a top 2 defense in the conference. They beat them in double overtime. And then, even Iowa State, who they put hands and feet on last week, they're a team that, not last week, the week before last week, they're a team that you can't mess around with their front seven either, and they decide to just do whatever they want to. I love Cameron Dickey too. I think he's one of the most underrated running backs in the league. As well, but him and LJ Martin might have a field day on both teams. I think outside of the quarterbacks, they are the X factors in this game. Who's ever able to penetrate that defense and put up a ton of yardage and of course get into the end zone is the team that's going to win this game. But there's no better team that's prepared themselves to play a defense like Texas Tech, no matter how scary it looks, than BYU Cougars, and that's why I have them winning this game.
I love your breakdown of this. I think when I look at two teams that kind of mirror each other in some ways, both when you think of Texas Tech recently, you just think of high-powered offense. You think of Zach Kelly as their offensive coordinator, Matt Leftwich, who's their offensive coordinator now. They're still putting up points in bunches, but they do have the ability to run the ball. So when I look at the defenses, strength, let's cancel those out. So now let's look at their offensive coordinator for BYU and Aaron Roderick, and then let's look at Matt Leftwich. If this thing becomes a defensive thing, what quarterback do I trust more? Even though Bears played outstanding this year, I trust Bear Morton. When I started looking at the coordinators, what coordinator do I trust more? I trust Matt Leftwich a little bit more than I trust Aaron Roderick. I've doubted BYU a few times this season. Most recently was the Iowa State game, and Iowa State had chances. They were up early. It was just like it was a Matt Campbell special. If there was a game this year that was a Matt Campbell special for Iowa State, it was that game. So I think Matt Leftwich and Bear Morton makes just one more play than Bear, Backmeyer, and Aaron Roderick. So give me Texas Tech to win this game, and they're at home. But actually no, this game is in. Is it in Provo?
It's in Lubbock.
It's in Lubbock. So give me. I just don't know what type of game it's going to be. Like, do both offenses just explode in this game? Do we get that purest game? That's the part I can't figure out. But if it's a defensive stalemate, I choose Leftwich and Bear Morton over Roderick and Bear Bachmeyer. I
get it. I totally get it. I really do. Lubbock's going to be a tough place to play.
It's a coin flip. And I got to pick these games.
It's a shame that this game is at 12 too.
Yeah, it is a midday game. It's crazy.
They're going to keep the tortillas back this time? They've been getting fined.
I think some fines you're willing to accept. I think that's one of those things. Fans storming the field. We see it in the ACC. Other conferences, they wait to 3 minutes. But we see it in SMU storm the field fast. UVA, I hate to bring that up again. That was the fastest field storm I've ever seen. I think we see more tortillas on the field. It's you win, you get tortillas.
Yeah, exactly. So the spread on this game is 9.5. That's crazy. It should be closer than that. With
the spread is 9.5.
Yeah, plus 9.5 for the Cougars as the underdogs. That is crazy to me.
Oh, I'm about to cash that in right when we get off of this show.
Yeah, put your money on BYU plus 9.5, man, because that's crazy. I think they covered the spread there
easily.
It's $420 for nosebleeds at this game.
I'll be watching it on my television set. That's crazy.
Yeah. So some Moons in the chat. What's up, man? He said throw the tortillas, take the fun. Everybody pitching $1. That's what I'm saying. I'll buy the damn tortillas for everybody and hand them out. Let's do it.
No bull.
But yeah, it's a shame that this is at 12 o'clock, man, on the East Coast. You guys in the Midwest got to wake up at 11. People all the way on the West Coast got to wake up, ass crack in the morning to watch this game.
Right.
This should have been
I wake up at 6 a.m. for college game day.
This should have been an 8 o'clock game. I don't know what we're doing. But I guess at the end of the day, you didn't expect these two teams to be here unless you're a 1%er like some of us are. I wish we could go around and just what will we do week to week to change this to make college football more exciting? Because to me, this doesn't give the spotlight to teams that actually need it. Like, how do you look at BYU the last couple of years and be like, yeah, they're not going to be as good as they were last year?
That's crazy.
I think people put in a lot of stake on Jake Retzlaff and don't understand that Kalani and those guys make really good decisions on who they put in place to be successful. Like, they haven't been a joke since they've been an independent school. Their first year in the Big 12, I think they won 3 games. After that, it's been hands and feet on everybody. He's going to get this, right? Like, even when they were in independent school, they were winning games and being ranked. So I don't know why people are so low on this.
I think some people just don't get it. They don't understand. We had an opportunity to sit down with LJ Martin. One of the interviews I walked away from just super impressed with the individual, the values, the way that he was raised. The kid is just super impressive.
I'm a big LJ Martin fan, man. Mm-hmm. It was him and Eli Sanders at New Mexico, who's now at USC, friend of the show, by the way. But yeah, those guys they don't get talked about enough. I know Eli's not getting a lot of burn because he's buried deep in that running back room, but it's a good problem to have for Lincoln because
Right.
once he gets his snaps, he's crazy good too. So, damn. Does the loser of this game still make the college football playoff race?
They can. It's Big 12. This ain't SEC. This ain't that's what I think. What Utah has 2 losses. BYU has none. Texas Tech has 1. Now, if BYU wins the game, I think that narrative switches a little bit, but I don't know. If BYU wins this game, who are their last few games? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if a loss is coming.
BYU has to play TCU, Cincinnati, and UCF, so that's a tough schedule to end the season.
That is a tough schedule. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I think both teams will still have chances. If you got a chance to play in that conference championship, you have an opportunity.
Yeah, Texas Tech plays UCF in West Virginia, so this is a little easier. This is gonna be their hardest game.
Yeah, you just don't know what you get from West Virginia. That's the only thing. They surprised me with Houston this weekend.
Yeah, man. that Houston game pissed me off because I'm like, how did Willie Fritz let this go against them? You can't tell me that Rich Rod just got his stuff all the way together for this game. Are you kidding me?
Right. And he's had a couple games like that where they just end up winning a game. You say how like Pitt has looked damn good this year. They struggled when they went to Morgantown. So I don't know. That's just the world of college football, honestly.
Yeah. Moon says if BYU loses and both teams got drugged by Texas Tech, who gets in between BYU and Utah? The winner of the head-to-head or the team playing hotter?
I think that's when the schedule will come in, and
I think BYU ends their schedule stronger than Utah too.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Let's check it real quick because I think they play some bull crap teams at the end. Baylor, Kansas State, and Kansas. Well, never mind.
Yeah.
Those are tough too. But if you had to put strength of schedule, it's gonna be BYU all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, crazy. My man Jalen's in the chat. He said yes if the loser is BYU. If Tech loses, they are out unless they win the conference.
Mm-hmm. I think this conference only get one. And after this weekend, I was mad emotional. I'm like, the ACC don't even deserve a bid, bro. Like, I was so pissed off with the ACC this past weekend. But I think the ACC gets one. I think Big 12 only gets one, too. I just think that's where we're at in college football right now.
Who gets the one for the ACC? Georgia Tech?
If I had to bet right now, Georgia Tech. If Louisville was 100% healthy and Brown was healthy, I'm betting with Louisville. I've been high on Louisville. Entire offseason, I was talking about Louisville. Yeah, I would say Georgia Tech.
Okay.
Yeah. Who you got?
I got Georgia. I got Georgia Tech. Yeah, I don't see anybody beating them. Like
me either.
And a lot of them have taken. A lot of those teams have taken so many damn losses that like Boston College is 1-8, Syracuse 3-6. Florida State's 4-4 right now, but you look at those bottom teams. Boston College 0-5 in the conference, Syracuse 1-5 in the conference, Florida State 1-4.
One game they won.
Clemson 2-4, Wake Forest is 2-3. So, I mean, it's going to be probably Virginia and Georgia Tech at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. I think it could be Louisville and Georgia Tech, but Pitt's such an interesting team too because they're just sitting there at 7-2 and 5-1 in the conference and just like, one of y'all mess up, please.
Yeah, they've been playing well. I think if SMU didn't lose that, what was it? Who did they lose? Was it Wake Forest? SMU lost to 13-12. I think they will have a horse in the race as well. But that loss was a pivotal loss, and we both know that Wake Forest should also beat Georgia Tech as well.
Yeah, and SMU played Baylor and TCU, and they lost to 2 Big 12 schools. Mm-hmm. Ooh, I mean, if that right there, if you want to factor in anything. Let's say SMU comes out on top winning the conference for whatever strange reason. If that happens, they'd be the only ACC team that'll probably get in because they already played 2 of those teams and lost to them in the Big 12, and so they would consider that. That's what you consider a loss is kind of crazy, but I mean, how else would you slice it? Oh well, they played better teams. The Big 12 was beating up on each other all year, like craziness.
Yeah, I don't think people are ready for the amount of teams that may get in the SEC and Big Ten. I don't think people are quite ready for it because we're looking at the G5 bid, and then you may get one. It's not a guarantee though that you get one from each conference. I think that's something else that a lot of people aren't keeping in mind. But the ACC and Big 12 are probably only going to get one apiece when you just look at the landscape of it. So that's 3 spots. You got 9 more spots. You can get a 5-4 scenario with the SEC and the Big 10, and that's crazy.
Yeah, let's see what the Pac-12 is looking like because I forget their records. Could they sneak in? No, they can't. That's kind of crazy. Oregon is number 1 in their conference because they beat the only person in their conference, but they're 2-7, and Washington State is 4-5. How, Sway? That's gotta suck.
That's bad, bro.
When you look at that. He said Miami deserves, in Cristobal we trust.
Oh wow, who said that? Jalen? He's trolling. And Jalen said that. He's trolling, bro. You gotta watch people like Jalen, man. He's an elite troll, man.
Hey, I had belief in him at the beginning. I was even one of the ones that said. And now this is what people will do when they misconstrue some of the things that you say. Because I hear things through the grapevine. Oh, he was wrong about this. Somebody really thought that I was wrong about my take on Miami through their first, I think it was the first 5 or 6 weeks, when I thought that they should have been ranked number 1 in the country by their schedule alone and who they beat. I don't think Ohio State should have been number 1. They took it as Miami, Ohio State. He's saying Miami would beat Ohio State. That's not what I said.
Selective hearing. If we're going to go off the same metrics that the college football playoff is going off, like there's going to be some hurt faces when Ohio State isn't the number 1 team in the country. There's going to be some really surprised people when they see that. And I don't think the college football playoff committee is going to make them the number 1 team in the country tonight. There's going to be a lot of hurt people, but it is what it is. We know, but we don't want percenters, bro. That's why we know.
If they make the moves I think they're gonna make tonight, I'm definitely not gonna be surprised. I'm not even gonna bat an eye.
Yeah, I'm actually, the moment this show is over, I'm ordering me some food, and I can't wait to sit back and watch my television. I can't.
With that being said, week 11 predictions. Let's go ahead and get through these real quick. Virginia and Wake Forest is such an interesting matchup because Wake Forest is coming in and just upsetting people on a weekly basis. But me and the crew got actually Wake Forest to come in and actually give Virginia that first, that other upset. How would this make Wake Forest look in the landscape of things, though? Whew.
You would have to look at them with a tad bit of sadness because you're like, bro, handle business versus Georgia Tech. The entire landscape of the ACC looks different. Yo, shout out to you and your crew, bro. Yes, I think Wake Forest will win that game as well.
Number 12 Virginia going down to Wake Forest. That's gonna be nuts if that happens. I'm a Chandler Morris guy, man. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt my soul to see. But
Virginia has some games that have went their way that could have went other ways. The Florida State game was one of those games. They beat Louisville, bro. That hurt my soul when they beat Louisville.
They're the Miami of this year. Miami was like that last year. The Virginia Tech game, the Cal game, like just go through it. It was a bunch of BS that happened at the end of those games.
And Jake Dickert leaving ACC media days, other than our time with Cal, but the way that his team was like, hey, if you're juiceless, you're useless. And he comes into the meeting screaming to the top of his lungs at 6 a.m. in the morning, and his team does it as well. Yes, I'm with you guys. Give me Wake Forest.
Memphis and Tulane. I love Memphis. I love everything that they're doing at home. Mm-hmm. My guys got Memphis, and I got Tulane winning this game. I think Jake Retzlaff and those boys are just like, they're sneaky on offense. Mm-hmm. They grab a hold of you, and then they don't let go for the whole game. They don't let you get up. Brendan Lewis and those guys have been sensational all season, and I remember going into the season, or at the beginning of the season, we thought that it was a shoe-in for South Florida to make the playoff. 100%. And then it was a shoe-in for Memphis to make the playoff. And then you see North Texas for what they're doing. We're like, it's a shoe-in for them to make the playoff. And then you have a couple other teams like San Diego State's making their case. And probably the hottest one is James Madison.
James Madison does look really good as well. I got something I want to share with you. This is Owen McCown. 31 of 33, 370 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I could not believe my eyes this past week when UTSA beat the dog crap out of Tulane. I have a question for you. Do you think some of the Summerall speak of him maybe taking one of these Power 4 jobs? Like maybe all of their affairs is, and I don't want to say about a guy that went everywhere he's been at, but maybe all of their affairs aren't in order because I didn't see that coming. UTSA beating the hell out of them the way that they beat the hell out of them.
I think sometimes the landscape of college football makes you feel like that you're better at times than you actually are.
Oh, I like that.
And that you should be more competitive in your division, and some guys settle for where they're at. And I think that's kind of where Tulane was until they got their butt kicked. Then they're going to come and play Memphis and play them at home, and then they're going to beat them, and it's going to turn everything on its head yet again in the American Conference. And like I said at the beginning of the show, you guys nailed it by saying that this is the most competitive conference in football this year. And I think there's another twist that happens in this conference. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams in the American Conference with just one loss in the conference so far.
That's crazy.
It's as wide open as you can get.
Didn't expect what happened to Navy this weekend to happen even. I love the Drew Metzemaker story, but I expected them to control the game, line of scrimmage, be able to run the ball. Blake Horvath just make a few more plays, but you're right. Expect the unexpected in American. I'm a simple man, bro. I don't bet against Memphis and Memphis. I don't care who's coming to town. I just don't bet against Memphis.
That
and
would
Memphis.
be my advice to everybody, but I'm going against my own advice this week, and I think Jake got absolutely destroyed on Twitter. When they lost too.
Did he?
And so,
I didn't know that. Damn.
And so
they don't come in focus. They are gonna come in focus. I give you that one.
So I got Tulane in that one. If Memphis wins, I'd not be surprised. To me, I circled this one as kind of like one of those underground games of the week in Arizona and Kansas, because these two teams are so talented, especially at the quarterback position. And I got Kansas winning this one. I went with my gut. I said, what does my gut say? They're going against the number 2 defense. Kansas is going into the number 2 defense against Arizona. I love 𝗕𝘂𝘂𝘀𝗶𝗲𝗀, but 𝗕𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘂𝘂 has broken my heart a lot of times throughout his career, even though I think he's a better quarterback than what people give him credit for. But the Jalen Daniels experience has looked what we thought it would be if he was healthy. I just think they have one of those sneaky Lance Leopold, like, fly under the radar teams, like going into the Colorado game last year, losing by less than 1 score game, and then come and smack you in the mouth, right?
Yeah, they beat the hell out of it. That physicality was real.
Yep. So I think, Kansas squeaks this one out, but I do think Arizona's defense does show up, and, shout out to Brent Brennan, man, because he got a lot of shit last year. And I didn't think he was the right coach for Arizona, and this year he's got those guys together. So
they're 5-3. That's a tough one because it's hard to bet against Lance Leopold. And Kansas is at home in this game.
Arizona's at home.
Arizona's at home. That's tough. I think Kansas needs this game more than Arizona. So we should see from the opening kickoff them have more fight. I was disappointed in their output versus Kansas State. This is a coin flip. Give me Arizona. Why? Because it's a coin flip. I don't know.
Kansas was playing lights out to begin the season. Those first 4 weeks.
They were.
We were like, damn, hold up.
Jalen
Daniels is looking like the best quarterback in the country.
Right. Like people was like, oh man, like let me apologize for some of my Jalen Daniels takes. But yeah, they look really good early in the season. Spoiler alert, I'm going Iowa with this last game. I'm interested to see where you go.
Oh. All of us pick Oregon, but
really?
I fought with myself about this one. Man. They're a team that I hate betting against, especially at this point in the season.
Right.
Especially when they have it all together, because Iowa's defense is always so good, but this offense just has just enough of a spark to get them past games, which makes them really, really scary, right? Because it's, their defense is going to carry them all season long. But they have made one more play than other teams while being held down a couple points, which has won them games versus other years that they've, have had offense. You would have thought the Cade McNamara's of the world and all those guys are going to get them over the hump. And this is that team this year where it's like they're just good enough on offense where Oregon's going to go in and be like, I'm scared of playing. I'm scared of playing this game, So, I'm taking Oregon in this game, and I know that Dante Moore is banged up. But the way that freshman quarterback came in and looked last week, he looks just the part too. I think any quarterback that comes in for Will Stein's offense is just he caresses them in that offense so perfectly. Pause if necessary, but he gets those guys ready to go. So,
Nah, for sure. This is one of the toughest games to call. I look at Iowa and what they've been able to do under Phil Parker. He's been so key to the success that they've had there for the better part of a decade. I expected Tim Lester. I expected more because we started to see light at the end of the tunnel for this offense a season ago. I think they're struggling a little bit more than they should be struggling. I thought if you run an RPO-based system, you get a guy like Mark Gronowski, should typically be a match made in heaven. It hasn't been so far.
FCS legend right there.
Yeah, it just hasn't been so far this season. I look at the 2 losses for Iowa. Really close game for the Cyhawk game. They lost to Iowa State. The game versus Indiana, they had so many chances to win that game. One of the few games that Fernando Mendoza looked absolutely pedestrian this year.
That lost him being in. It's hard to mention him in the top 3 after that, to be honest.
I agree with you. So 2 losses by a total of 8 points against a team that plays outstanding. And then what they did to what I thought was a pretty decent Minnesota team for the Florida-Rosedale game, which was supposed to be a highly competitive game. What was it, 42-3, bro? It was a nightmare. This team, I think Oregon is facing this team at the wrong time. This team is hot, and they're starting to believe.
I agree. Yeah. The next set of games here, a team that surprised the hell out of me because I thought they were going to be one of the worst this year. Liberty's annoying to watch.
There are certain things this year I've completely just shut off in my mind. I can go to a Liberty game whenever I want to. I refuse. I can go to a Virginia Tech game whenever I want to. I refuse. I also refuse. I talk about Virginia Tech a little bit more. I don't talk about Liberty at all. That's like the we don't talk about Bruno for me. So whoever Liberty is playing, I'm picking the other team. That's how much I hate Liberty at the moment.
Missouri State has been absolutely sensational in their first year in the FBS, though. I got to give it to them. Kennesaw State, them, Delaware.
And I think the Conference USA prepares you for that leap when you go from the FCS ranks to the Group of 5 or, FBS ranks. I think Con USA prepares you for it probably better than most conferences. I think they give you more resources than some of the other conferences do.
Yeah, for sure. Missouri State has looked good, though, 5-3. I mean, if you asked me at the beginning of the season, I thought that Missouri State and Delaware were going to come in and be bottom of the barrel and not be ready. And except we're seeing people, teams that we were high on, even though Sam Houston lost their quarterback a couple of weeks ago and things like that. But we would have thought that Sam Houston would have been at the top of the heap and Jacksonville State would have been at the bottom after losing Rich Rod. And now they're back at the top of the heap. And Kennesaw State would probably be middle of the road and they're at the top.
Fingers crossed for Kennesaw State because we have season credentials there. And the Conference USA, the person who finishes out with the best record in the regular season, that's what the championship game is. So we're fingers crossed for Kennesaw. That's why Liberty, I loved our relationship because I went to their conference championship back in 2023 because it was in Lynchburg, So yeah, I'm pissed off with Liberty right now.
Hey, nobody gives a hoot what Kennesaw State does. You know what I'm saying? So.
I like that.
All right. Well, we're gonna we got a prediction with Liberty on this one, but I'm not feeling comfortable.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right play. I'm just so pissed off. I'm bitter, bro. So Missouri State.
They'll end up losing this game, and I'll be like, I'm never betting on Liberty to do anything again. Man, Bowling Green has been an interesting team. Eddie George has handled that team as best as he could in his first year, and I'm highly surprised that they are 3-6. I thought they'd probably be somewhere in the middle of the road, which they are. At this point in time, they're not at the bottom. UMass in their first year in the MAC is the worst.
The MAC is just a cluster. Either you're 5-3, you're 500, or
you're 3 and something. Yeah,
it's just an entire cluster. I know I get on Moon nerves. Bowling Green is probably the team I get on this nerve mode. I'm like, yo, what's going on with Bowling Green? I thought Eddie George had figured this thing out. I had that conversation with Moon every week, at least 2 or 3 times a week, because I'm so frustrated with him.
Yeah. I think, on this one, we're taking Eastern Michigan. Not confident on this one. They're still right there at the bottom, but Bowling Green is battling some key injuries that they're trying to get through. And again, if Eddie George ends up winning this, I'll clap for him. I'll say, you handling this the right way. And I just hope we don't get down the road where he gets Bowling Green into a MAC championship in the next couple of years. Then he goes off to a school like Colorado or something. He's not going to Colorado, but a school that's like was on the fringe like Colorado, and then builds them up. And then you have one guy that did it the right way, and all of us are like, "Told you so," versus the guy that kind of skipped the line because of his notoriety and his sons. So
just a little bit of a microwave for you. Yeah, I agree with you. I love what Eddie George is doing. It just frustrates me because this team has a lot of potential, but that's just the MAC. It's so jumbled up right now. Great game that's on right now. I need to check.
It was the best Group of 5 conference for years. What the hell is going on? Miami of Ohio and Buffalo and Western Michigan are at the top. We're used to seeing the Toledos and Northern Illinois on the top. What is going on? This is crazy. He might go to Colorado. That would be crazy work. If Deion gets fired and Eddie George goes there and has success, that's gonna be crazy. Where he definitely will be bringing out all the rappers and stuff. You already know that ain't happening.
That's not happening. Well, it might. He is married to one of the singers from SWV, but it ain't gonna happen at the same
he is? I didn't know that.
Yeah. They've been married. They had a TV show. I'm starting to show my age here. In the mid 2000s, they had a TV show I used to watch all the time.
I did not know that. Wow, that's a little gem you just hit on me just now. Hawaii and San Diego State. Look, I'm high on Hawaii, man. I thought they were going to be runners up in this conference, and they're still in the mix.
They're still in the mix. Yeah.
But Sean Lewis is making Coach Prime look silly.
He is.
I told people, I was like, he may have a down year his first year with San Diego State. They're going to win a conference championship before it's done. I didn't think it was going to come this soon. Yeah, San Diego State, we got them winning this game. Jaden Donegal and those guys, they're running the ball really well, and they're playing tough defense. They're really good. Even though I think Hawaii's good, they could win this game. I'm just a little higher on San Diego State because I'm just keeping on the train with them. They're going in and they're proving the teams. Their points against this year is the lowest out of everybody in college football, I believe, next to Ohio State. I think they've only had 40-something points scored against them. It's crazy. Their defense is awesome. Yeah. So we choose San Diego State. Who you got in this one?
Yeah, I don't think there's a pick to be made here. I love what Hawaii is doing, but yeah, San Diego State is just playing outstanding right now. But in 2025 edition of college football, this would be a game where we're so confident we will win that Hawaii got something up their sleeve. But yeah, give me San Diego State.
Another game of the week to watch out for, a sneaky good one, Mizzou versus Texas A&M. Now, it's interesting because if this was the reverse, I'd be choosing Texas A&M at Kyle Field. And I'm still choosing them anyways. I got Texas A&M. It would have been a landslide sweep, though, like in my thought process if they were playing at Kyle Field. But I'm not confident in this pick. I'm going to just tell you that right now. Mizzou is going to be one of the better defenses that Texas A&M goes against this year, and it's not close. They have the front seven to keep Marcel Reed behind the line of scrimmage the whole game, and I think that could be absolutely diabolical for him. But I think about the X factors in this game. Casey Concepcion, not even on offense, on special teams, I don't know if they can deal with that. And then if he's not open, then you got to deal with Mario Craver too. It's insane. So yeah, give me Texas A&M in this game.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'm really weird with my approach to college football. I've seen a lot of the 𝗕𝘂𝗶𝗲𝘀𝗀 kid this year, and I've liked a lot of what I've seen, but the bad has been awful, not from a play perspective of he gets in his head, like seeing him pace the sideline, and I'm begging over there, talk to him, get him right. So, and we saw that a lot in the Alabama game. There was something in that Vandy game about this kid, Matt Zollers, I believe his name is, who's going to be starting. Real wiry, wide-eyed, you know what I'm saying? But I believe he'll have 2 weeks to prepare for this game. I think he'll bring something interesting to the table for this team. I think Missouri can absolutely win this game. I think you're right about the pressure that Marcel Reed is going to face. But I look at Mike Elko, I look at Marcel Reed, I look at Casey Concepcion, I look at Ruben Owens. look at Mario Craven. I look at this team and I say, I love this team a lot. And is it weird to you that more people aren't talking about Mike Elko going to other places, or the resources are just so plentiful in College Station that he's not going anywhere else? Because he's done an outstanding job here, but he did it the right way. Get you a stud offensive coordinator in Colin Klein. Let him run your offense. Colin Klein should be looked at for some jobs too, because you've seen Kansas State kind of dip offensively since he's left for College Station.
Yeah, the thing is, it's a scariest job for him to take is the Penn State one, because he's from New Jersey and he went to the University of Pennsylvania. So why are we talking about him going to Penn State?
Yeah, he's done an outstanding job.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe the resources are plentiful out there, but Mike Elko don't do a lot of talking either. So he ain't going to answer your question straight up. He'll just totally move on to the next thing. He's the best coach if you were like tampering just to go tamper with, because he's not going to say anything.
No,
he's not even going to hint at it. He's just going to be nonchalant the whole season and say, I'm focused on the season and that's what we're doing. But I wouldn't be surprised if we hit bowl season, they lose. And then the next day you heard Mike Elko's moving on to Penn State.
I mean, he did Duke dirty, man. Like, I got some people that's shout out to the Juice Network, close with the program, that at every game they said there were a lot of people pissed off about the way he left Durham and that he did them dirty. So
I had a direct source to Mike Elko. It was his cousin through a buddy of mine that I trust, and my buddy was like, well, my buddy is actually his boss. So that's why I was like, okay, hit me with that again. He was like, yeah, Mike's not leaving Duke. He's going to stay there. And I put the news out. I was like, yep, Mike Elko's staying in Duke per sources. And then the day after, he took the job at Texas A&M. I'm like, this son of a bitch. I thought I was like, I'll never be the one to break news ever again. This is dumb.
That's hilarious, man.
Lose your credibility, like, straight up.
Yeah, sources are weird. I had one with Colorado for a while. He gave us some good intel, especially heading into the 2023 season. I think it was. We had found out some things, we shouldn't have known about. But he was like, "Hey man, don't say it came from me." I was like, "All right, I got you."
I got some good sources in the NFL, and they're pretty spot on. But the college guys, it's a little crazy.
It's a lot of hearsay. Some people sources may come from a message board.
Yeah, it's a lot of what did he say? What did he say? And then the last game here, man, Jalen Raynor has I got ties to him very, very closely, and he's a very good quarterback, great through a threat guy. I
got to see him this year at Kennesaw State this year, believe it or not.
Yeah, and we're all picking Arkansas State, but Southern Miss is one of those teams that play everybody hard this year, and they win games that they probably shouldn't win. But I think Jalen Raynor's got his wits about him this year, and he's starting to put it together. So I think this is a close game, but Arkansas State pulls this one out.
I ain't mad at it. I'm with you guys.
All right. Just getting our bets real quick for the week. The spread, give me +1.5 Houston at UCF. What are we doing here, bettors? That's easy money.
That's real?
Yes. They are underdog going into UCF.
It's just a real thing. That's crazy.
Yep. South Florida plays UTSA. I think South Florida is about to put hands and feet on UTSA. -14.5 is not enough. The spread should be even more. I think Byron Brown is going to go in and do ungodly things to UTSA.
They had a bye this week too, didn't they?
Yep, exactly. After coming off that loss to Memphis, yeah.
They're going to be angry. UTSA is hot, though. But, yeah, USF going to be really angry.
Over, under. I got the over 52.5 for the BYU and Texas Tech game. I was thinking about taking the under in this one, but I think we're going to get to a point in time in the fourth quarter where it's just they're just throwing things up and making things happen the whole game.
Score or die.
Yeah. Under 55.5 for the Tulane at Memphis game. Like, two good defenses going to play each other hard, and Tulane's got enough of a defense to kind of shut Brendan Lewis down too. So, and he's their main money maker on that offense. So, but 55.5 is kind of a lot for this matchup. So I kind of took the under on that. And then my money line, I have West Virginia beating Colorado.
They will.
Like, what are we doing? Colorado has lost by 50 plus points. There was a sports book that had Colorado as the actual, they had West Virginia as the underdog. I don't know if they changed that, but that's crazy.
Nah,
that's even crazier than
true
even crazier than the Houston, the Houston pick there.
That Houston pick is wild. Yeah, there's Julian Lewis is starting his first game. I think Dion has no media access for the players and the coaches other than himself. That they're a dumpster fire, bro. I hate to say it.
Yeah, and then the last one for the G5, I got Temple taking the win at Army. So
I love Temple. We have great ties with Temple.
So overall for the year, I'm 37-16 in bets for college.
That's fire.
I'm at a winner percentage of 698. I finished 4-2 last week on my bets. So
you better than what Pay call it, the ramen noodle express, man.
I'm trying. I'm trying to win people free money. People were like, "Hey man, I'm struggling on my rent. Well, pay attention to my bets every single week. You can find $5 in your couch. I got you. We could close that gap real fast." Hey man, appreciate you being on this week. I know we got about 20. We got like 15 minutes before the selection show starts, so we can get into those rankings. But I thought this was a good point in time when the season started to play itself out. I told you I was going to bring you back on and kind of give you, kind of bring this thing together for the college football season before we actually start getting into the nitty gritty of things. So I appreciate you being on.
Hey, no doubt. Anytime. Is that a 𝗕𝘂𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 jersey that you had back there?
Yeah, Wayne 𝗕𝘂𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀.
Oh, yeah, Wayne 𝗕𝘂𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 was a dog, slot receiver, undersized. He's like one of the Rocky story of the NFL. That's crazy. That's a hell of a pull.
Yeah, the signed Wayne 𝗕𝘂𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 jersey back there. I actually won a bet, and the guy was like, "What do you want?" We told each other we was gonna get each other a jersey, actually, it wasn't that expensive to get a signed Wayne 𝗕𝘂𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 jersey. I was like, this is actually cheaper than buying an actual like NFL jersey or college jersey. So I was like, go ahead and give me that signed Wayne 𝗕𝘂𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 jersey. Yeah, when I get to my new house here in November or in a couple weeks, I'm gonna put that thing in a case.
Congratulations, brother.
I appreciate it. Yeah, being in this 1-bedroom apartment is doing me in. So we got to get out of here. Who's East Coast favorite team? Florida State, and then and NFL the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You a Jags fan? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm suffering. I can't stand Trevor Lawrence. Never could stand. I wanted Justin Fields in that draft so bad.
Oh, not even in college. You didn't like Trevor Lawrence.
I wanted Justin Fields. Yeah. We take 2 seasons to get Trevor, and this is what happened. But we're gonna go ahead and get out of here, man. Episode 54 of College Football Rush. We'll be back at you tomorrow for NFL Rush. Appreciate the governor coming in and joining me yet again today. We'll get you in here in the next couple of weeks when everything starts really shaking out. So
anytime, brother. You already know.
All right. See you guys later, man.